Today what we're going to do is talk about hiring virtual assistants. Right now I'm at the park about to hit this workout, so we're actually going to do something a little different today. I'm going to work out while I share some tips with you on how you can free up your time so you can be able to exercise, so you can be able to spend time with your family, so you can be able to do what you want in your real estate business. No, it's not going to happen overnight, but I'm going to share some tips with you on how you can build that team over time. The best part about what I do is I don't have an office. Everybody's virtual. And between my two businesses, which is my education and software platform, as well as my real estate business, there's 18 of us on a team. Bringing in income requires very little of my time. That's how I'm able to be at the park. That's how I'm able to do what I want. That's how I'm able to work from home. That's how I'm able to be with my family, my wife and kids all day long. And that's why when circumstances came up a couple months ago, it didn't affect me. It didn't affect my income. It didn't affect anything that went on in my business, is because we're all virtual. So today, again, I'm going to share with you how you can get started hiring your first virtual assistant or another virtual assistant. I'm going to share a 12-step process with you coming up. Hey, it's Jamel Gibbs with the REI Education Academy, helping you close deals consistently in your real estate investing business. Again, what I want to do is share with you some tips, 12 tips to be exact, on how you can hire your first virtual assistant. And I'm going to get my workout in, but at the same time, I'm going to share these tips with you, and I'll help you. And the object is to help you free up time for yourself and your real estate business. You don't want to become a slave to your business. You don't want your business to become a high-paying job. You want it to be a real business. And in order to run it like a business, you're going to need to start building your team. One tip before we jump into the 12 tips is going to be, don't hire people until you can actually train them on a position that you hire them for. So for example, in the real estate business, you have what's called acquisitions. That means acquiring properties. You don't want to hire somebody to take the incoming seller calls until you know how to do it yourself. That's my philosophy behind it. Some people might have a different opinion on that. For me, it works well for me. I've been doing it for 20 years. Another tip is to focus on what you're good at. Eventually, you want to allow your business to become a hands-off business for you, where you can bring in money without having to do any work or very minimal work, and your team can run the entire business. If you have people, processes, and software, which is a third thing that you're going to need, then ultimately you'll be able to run a very successful business. The people will be able to take care of the grunt work, the processes will be run by the people, and then the software should take care of the rest for you. All right, so I'm going to share these tips with you, but again, don't hire anybody if you don't know what you're doing right now. Keep these things in mind and look for pockets in your business where if you have, let's say, acquisitions, and it's not a good use of your time, which is, you should never be doing acquisitions in my opinion, but if you have a certain part of your business which is not good use of your time, then you should start looking to hire somebody else to do it. But do it only when you know what you're doing, and you don't have to wait 6 months to hire somebody. Wait until you kind of get an idea, an understanding of what's actually going on, then go out and hire somebody else to take care of that. So let's go over here to the playground. I'm going to get my workout started. I'm going to start sharing these 12 tips with you. Let's go. So the first tip when it comes to hiring your first virtual assistant is to go to the right place. There's a couple of websites that I personally go to get virtual assistants. Now keep in mind, some of my team is here in the US, some of my team is overseas, in the Philippines. And either way, we're all virtual. We don't have a physical office. Everybody works from home. All right, so when I'm looking for a virtual assistant, I use the same exact process, whether they're here in the US or whether they're overseas in the Philippines or in India or whatever the case may be. You could get great talent online at a fraction of what it's going to cost to hire someone here in the US. But sometimes you do need boots on ground as well, especially here in the US. So when it comes to my virtual assistants on my real estate side, I have most of my people overseas in the Philippines. My acquisition specialist is overseas. My dispositions specialist is here in the US. My cold callers are overseas. But I use the same processes all the time in order to be able to hire the team members that I'm looking for when I need them. So in order to find these team members, if I'm looking overseas, then I'm going to onlinejobs.ph. Write that website down. Very important website. I think is a killer website to find great talent in your real estate investing business. So again, that's onlinejobs.ph. And if you go there, there may be a small cost. I think it's less than $100 just to be able to set up your account, to be able to find a quality talent. You can set up a free account, but if you really want to be able to screen the people that you're hiring, you're gonna have to pay $100. Typically what I do on that website is I'll pay the $100, I'll find the talent that I want, and then I'll cancel the paid account and go down to the free account. I don't need to have a recurring payment from them because I'm not hiring all the time. So onlinejobs.ph is a great place if you want to find virtual talent overseas in the Philippines. Yeah, so I'm just getting a little warm up in, warming my body up in order to be able to handle the big workout as we move forward. After you go to onlinejobs.ph, the next thing you want to do is place your ad. You want to keep it really simple, and you want to have a clear ad that kind of spells out exactly what you want from the virtual assistant, what you're expecting from them. So for example, if you're looking for an acquisition specialist, you might ask for somebody that has phone skills. Maybe they have skills cold calling. Maybe they have a previous history of cold calling. Or maybe they've worked with another real estate business before. I personally look for individuals like that, and that's the type of talent that I'm looking for when I'm on these sites. All right, I'm placing the ad purposely to call out that type of person so that they can respond to my ad. So another thing that I do in the ads is I'm really specific, and I want them to follow certain instructions in the ad as well. We'll talk about that in just a second. So the third tip when it comes to hiring your virtual assistant is to screen the people that reply to your ad. So number one, go to onlinejobs.ph. Number two, place the ad, very simple. And number three, screen the people that reply to your ad. All right, now, as I've mentioned before, when you place the ad, you're in essence pre-screening them anyway. What I personally like to do is I'll look for people who have, and this is specifically for onlinejobs.ph, I'll look for people who have a score of 85 to 100. And what I do with them is I go ahead and I'll put a star next to their name on onlinejobs.ph. And that way I'm separating them from everybody else that I don't necessarily want to contact. So if you have a 8.5, well, in this case, it'll be an 85 out of 100 score, or 85 to 100, then chances are I'm going to put a star next to your name and I'm going to eliminate everybody else. The fifth strategy, again, just kind of finalizing placing the ad and screening the individuals while you're actually placing the ad. So when they reply, you're pulling out the type of person that you want. One tip that I'm going to give you in regards to finding the right people is making sure you place something in that ad to see how that person follows instructions. So for me, I have two things that I ask them to do, two simple things. Number one, I want them to submit a resume to me so I can look at their history. That's the easy part, right? Here's where most people fail, and this is why most people don't get a call back. I also ask them as a secondary option, it's not even an option, it's mandatory. I want them to reply to me with a private message, real subtle when I add that into the ad. A private message replying to me, explaining to me why I should hire them. Most people don't send a private message. They'll reply to the main ad. All right, so you want them to follow instructions, very subtle, to say, I want you to send me a private message through email, and you'll tell them how you want them to communicate with you, but have them send you a private message explaining why they should hire you. If they can follow those 2 simple instructions, they pass the test, they can move on into the next section. The next tip is number 6. So after you place your ad, after you've started searching for the type of people that you want on your team, and you started separating them by highlighting them with a star next to their name, then you got to start narrowing down the people that you have selected. So again, I look for people that have a range of an 8.5 to a 10. So on onlinejobs.ph, that would be an 85 to a 100 score. So now that I have all of those people selected, the next thing I'm doing is I'm looking for the best prospects out of those individuals. The first thing that I'm doing when I'm hiring them is, if you have an 85 out of 100 score, but you did not follow instructions in the ad that I placed, and I wanted you to respond with your resume as well as sending me a private message, then you're automatically out. All right, if you can't follow instructions, you can't be on the team. All right, so what I do is I sort out the people, and usually, let's just say that there's 10 applications that come in. By the time I'm done going through the people that replied to my ad, whether they sent the resume over as well as sent the private message over to me, I'm usually down to about 3 to 5 people after that. So again, what I do is I weed out the people who just don't pay attention, they don't follow instructions well, and then that leaves me with a small group of people that I can actually work with. These pull-ups is still part of the warm-up process, but we're starting to get a little crazy with it now. But listen, after you've gone ahead and started narrowing down to the highest qualified people, the next thing to do is to get these people on the phone. And this is where I go through a 20-question process. There's 20 specific questions that I personally ask my potential applicants, my potential virtual assistants. You can kind of create your own questions, but you really, you want to just get into their mind a little bit and get an understanding of how effective they're going to be on your team. All right, so that's tip number 7. The next tip is number 8. Get these individuals on the phone from tip number 7. But if you like them when you're on the phone and you have a good vibe with them, the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you get them the company welcome packet. Now, my company welcome packet, in the very beginning, it talks about the culture of the company, what we're expecting from them. It talks about all kinds of things, from the agreement to the pay to everything that is part of being in my real estate business. I have a system called the Deal Automator System. It's a program that I sell. I'm not going to link it below because it's not up for sale right now. But if you grab my Investor Deal Pro software, you'll be offered an opportunity to get this Deal Automator System, which is basically virtual assistant packet, the training packet, where all of this is put into one big bundle for you that you can hand off to your virtual assistant, and then it's kind of like me training your virtual assistant for you through videos and documents. But that's the next step. The next step, I got bugs flying around all over the place, spiders all over me. It's all good. We outside in the park, part of the game, right? Going back to what I was saying, basically the important part to take away from that is create a virtual welcome packet that you can send off to the people that you interviewed, just to kind of take them to the next step. It's hot out here. It's about 90 degrees right now. I'm getting a little sweaty, and obviously with the workout, this is starting to intensify a little bit. But after you send out the welcome packet, the next tip, which is tip number 9, would be to go out and have a phone call with the potential party that you're interested in. So at this point, you should have narrowed it down to the top 2 people. You're gonna have phone calls with the ones that you're really interested in, and then the one that you hire, you're gonna start training that person. So I usually take about 45 minutes to an hour, and I record the entire training on, let's say, Zoom, or maybe GoToWebinar or something like that. I'll make sure that I record the conversation with them so I can provide them with the training after the fact. But all I'm doing is I'm training them on a position that they're taking on, and I'm also going through the welcome pack line by line. I actually go through the welcome pack first, then I start the training after the fact. So personally, what I would do is I would go through the welcome pack, make sure they understand everything that's in the welcome pack, and then start training them on the position. So let's just say, for example, we talked about acquisitions before. If you're training them on acquisitions, show them around, show them what they need to get accomplished while they're taking on that position and what you expect from them, and then they're off to the races. All right, so these are gonna be the last 3 tips. These are the shortest tips that you really have to worry about. It's simply number 10, get them started. Number 11, give them 90 days to allow them time to perform. When you think about certain jobs in the corporate world, they give you a grace period of 90 days to be able to see how you fit in with the team. So after I get them to work, I give them a 90-day grace period to kind of prove themselves. And what I'm looking for is if they can follow specific instructions during the course of that 90 days. The ultimate goal would really be to have them help you get at least 1 deal during the course of the 90 days. That's ultimately proving themselves as part of the team. But if I tell them to call, let's say 200 people a day, 1,000 people a week, and they can prove to me that they can accomplish that task, and they're not complaining, or they're not worried about the fact that maybe it's been 90 days and we haven't closed the deal yet, then I would definitely add them to the team for the long term. So again, I get them to work, I give them 90 days to start working, and I'm training them little by little over the 90 days as well, offering that help. And then after the 90 days, if they fit the team, number 12 would simply be to add them to the team and let go of the leash. So that's the 12 tips to hiring your first virtual assistant. If you follow these 12 tips, then you'll be well on your way to hiring successful people to work with you in your real estate business. So go ahead and implement these 12 tips and make sure you apply them into your real estate investing business. Now, another thing, go ahead, like this video, subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and leave a comment below. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.